I'm always seeing a lot of representatives asking what should they do with the brochure. Now obviously we pay for our brochures, so we'd like to get the maximum potential out of them that we can. So I'm going to share with you my 15 ways of how you can use the brochures in other ways that you may have not thought of. Just to show you how crazy it can get. You know, at this moment in time, I've saved all my first look books. These are all the clearance brochures. Then I've got some more, just the normal brochures. I've got 2 bags of my campaign 14 ones ready to go out. I've got lots more 14 ones there, and then I've got more stacked up here which are ready to give to representatives that are signed up, and then I've got some here ready for the representatives who I'm going doing training calls on. So as you can see, you know, we can get chocker with all our brochures. So let's get in it and I'll show you my 15 tips. Tip 1, show the brochure to everyone. Now this may sound like a very simple tip and you may think you already know it, but do you actually show your brochure to everybody? So, you know, you've got your family and friends who you're close to, but then could your family and friends show that brochure to somebody? You've got all the groups that you attend, you've got businesses that you attend, even in conversation throughout the day, are you popping one in your bag and telling somebody about it? You know, even I had a little badge on my handbag, an Avon badge, and was stood in the B&M queue, and somebody just tapped me on the shoulder and said, do you do Avon? So I said yes, and they said, oh, have you got a brochure on you? So I gave them a brochure and I got a customer that way. So you need to show the brochure. If they're a current brochure and they're sat at home, then you're not going to get sales. And don't complain about not getting sales if you're not putting the brochure out there. You've got a little book that's called the Start of Something New book, and inside there is a little form that you fill in, and on that form is all the people who you think you could show that brochure to. So fill that in and start showing the brochure to everybody. Tip 2, staple samples to the brochure. Now we've been through this before on my sample video, but the book is the shop window, and so how are we going in to entice customers to look at that shop window, to open the brochure and to see what's in it? So it's easy as getting a sample, cutting it, and you can clip it on the front of the book, and then the customer knows that there's something at the front of it. Or you can find the actual perfume that it is, find the page, staple it on the page, and then put a little sticker at the front and say sample enclosed. You're enticing the customer then to open the brochure. Tip 3, flag your pages. So again, this is coming on from the stapling the samples. So you need a way of getting the customer to open the brochure up. So get the page which you think is a good deal at the moment, and all you do is you fold it and then you fold it again, and that means that when it's closed there's a little triangle there, and the customer may think, oh, that representative's a little bit of a mess, look at the state of the book, but then when they open it up they realise that there's actually a good offer on that page. Tip 4, use the brochure to play games with your customers. So you could just do something as simple as get some little sticky notes, and on the front of it I've just put, you found me, stick me on your order form to get 5% knocked off your order if 10% are over. So, you know, I've just done it, written it on the paper with a permanent marker, but you could do a little bit more presentable. You could do stickers, pop stickers on there or something like that, and then get this and hide it in the brochure somewhere, and then when the customer finds it, they're going to get 5% knocked off their order if it's £10 or over. They've saved a little bit of money, and you could have actually gained yourself a customer that may have not ordered from you last time, because you're giving them an offer And also they get to see a little bit of your quirky personality in it, so they get to know you a little bit more and building up that relationship with the customer. Tip 5 is use 2 brochures at once. So at this moment in time, I'm in campaign 15. So I'm going to give all my customers this brochure. But if I've got a lot of 14s left over, then I could just potentially give them all 2 brochures, so I can give them the one before and the one now and let them order from them. Now, the only thing with this is if anybody does creative ordering, you're actually putting the creative ordering in the hands of the customer rather than yourself. But you may find that because they do the creative ordering, that they'll end up spending more. Just a little tip to remember also is that you need to know which brochure they've ordered from. So you could just write a little note on the order form to say, please indicate which brochure you are buying from. What I did is I put these on little stickers, and I put the stickers on the order forms, and it actually worked quite well for me. I would have still done it, other than the brochures that I get now, I actually use for my other representatives rather than having them surplus to give them back to customers. Tip number 6 is do an old brochure recanvass. So if you've been allocated a territory and it's been around 6 months since you last gave everybody a brochure, then why not get the brochure previous. So I'm in campaign 15 now, so I'm going to use my campaign 14 brochures and post them to all the homes who aren't your customers. When I do this, I'm not going to go back and collect the brochure because I haven't enough time. So I've done a little sticker on the PC, and it says, I will not be collecting this brochure, but if you would like to order something, please contact me on or visit the website at. So I'm just going to stick them on the front. I'm not going to put an order form in, and like I say, I'm going to post these to all the homes that aren't my customers. So as a sales leader, we get given a little flyer, and I don't know if you've ever seen it before, which is become an Avon representative. And this little card says the brochure has expired, but shows just a few of Avon's wide ranges of quality products. So what I do is I get these flyers and I put them on all my old brochures and my old sales flyers. So when I just want to do a book drop where I am not going to go door knocking, I will literally take the brochures and with the flyer. But when we're out knocking door to door, I will take all the sales flyers because they're a lot thinner. You can get a lot of them in the bag and they're not as heavy as the brochures. Tip 8 is let's be generous and offer our brochures out to other people. So maybe we haven't got the time to do recanvassing, or we're going to, we don't really particularly want to take the brochures out if we're doing recruiting. So how about announcing it on the Facebook page that you've got all these brochures? Does anybody want them? If you want to sell them to them, then sell them. But there's going to be representatives out there who have got a use for them, even if you haven't. Tip 9 is give back order brochures to new representatives. So as a sales leader, if I sign a new representative up and I've been round and spoke to them on their first training call, and I get an idea of whether or not I think they would be able to understand about back ordering. Because if they've been given a territory and I'm only able to give them 20 brochures to start with for that campaign, then if I can give them the back order brochures as well, then they've got 40. So the majority of the time I will always give 3 sets of brochures rather than 2. I give the current one and I give the next one, but I also give the previous one. Tip 10 is making sample bags out of your brochures. Now, if you've got the time to do this, then this is brilliant. I wouldn't recommend doing it instead of buying bags when you're just putting the products in, but if you're doing something special, like you're giving special things to your customers, or you've got an event, or you've got a party at home, then this could be a great idea. For me, it takes quite a while for me to make the bags, and I've found that in the sales flyer rather than the brochure does work a little bit better. So I've made a little one, and I've just popped some little hangers on, and I've made a bigger one. Tip 11 is frame pages. So for anybody who does events or parties, you could take the current brochure and you could have a look through and see what the good offers are, see what's appealing or the thing that you want to promote. You can actually rip the page out and frame it, because then it just makes it stand out a little bit more. Tip 12 is you could use the brochures to do bunting and lettering for your events or parties. Again, this depends how much time you've got on your hands and how creative you're feeling. But easily enough, you know, I've cut some triangles out of the Campaign 13 brochure when the new products were on the first pages, and I've made myself some bunting. Also, I looked at the pages either side to see which one would demonstrate the product the best. So as you can see there, that you can see the products and a little bit of information. So they could go in your market stall or on the table or on the tables when you're doing your parties. Getting a little bit more fancier, I took it one step further. Now excuse my lettering, because this is one thing that I'm not that good at, and I did make it quite quickly. But I made a little Avon sign, and again you could stick those on the walls, on the sides of your tent for your event, in front of the tablecloth, and it's just another way of trying to make a use out of your brochures. The last one that I've done, which was literally just a little bit of playing about, is making a little Avon mobile. So I used the Campaign 13 brochure, and I just cut the Avons from each of the brochures, and then I stuck them together with a piece of sellotape. I hole punched the tops and the bottoms, and then I just tied some string on, and then you could dangle those again from the entrance of your tent, or you could hang them over the side of the table. Tip 13 is using the information out of the brochure to help promote the products to your customers. So if you're doing house parties or events, and like myself, you're not quite sure what every piece of makeup does and how to apply it correctly, then possibly you could make your own booklet for easy access of being able to explain these to the customer. So just as a quick, I've cut out from one of the brochures how you apply the glimmer stick. So if a customer came to me and just asked a question about the glimmer stick, I would know that I've got a piece of information of it straight away in the brochure. The same again with the duo eyeshadow. It shows you there how to apply it. So having all that information in one booklet is going to make you look like you know what you're talking about. You'll be very informative, and also if the booklet was being able to access by the customers that approach you, then that might entice them to invest in the products. So tip number 14 is remove all the fragrance pages from the brochures and make your own fragrance page brochure. When I do events, I've got the little wallets, and these wallets have all the perfumes in, and I've tried to make it as easy as I can. They're all in alphabetical order. I've got my own little key sequence for them, and they're in male and female. But how about taking it one step further and actually removing the fragrance pages from the brochures and making a fragrance catalogue that way around? So you can take them all out, and then if a customer asks, you can literally just access that fragrance, take it out and let them rub it, and then they kind of know the smell. But also, instead of keeping the fragrances in these wallets, you could pop them inside of these plastic wallets. So with each one, you've got a little fragrance there, and then when a customer approaches you and asks, I'd like to buy that perfume, what does it smell like? You just get your little planner out, go to the page, because they should all be in alphabetical order, and then show them the fragrance. Tip 15 is shred the brochures. If you sell on eBay or Amazon, or you send business in a box out to new representatives, then if there's nothing else for you to do with your brochures, then shred all the paper and use that as the protective innards of it. So there's my 15 tips on how to use brochures. If you'd like any more information, then please contact me. Yes, I am going to do videos on how I make my bags and the bunting and the lettering and the mobiles, but that'll shortly follow. So if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, then you will be informed when that happens, and also you can keep tabs on me on my Facebook pages and my website, all of which will follow in the credits. Bye for now.